Hello, welcome back to another video. So I had to do something simple again. I just did some digital doodling, which in and of itself is kind of proof that I was feeling a bit better. For anyone who didn't watch my last video, I've been having some vertigo and dizziness and stuff for a while, and it's been very annoying and I haven't been able to go to work, so yeah, it's fine. But yeah, so just the digital doodling, all of these are from imagination, everything that you see. I tried to make a video of me doing some gesture drawing, which turned out horribly because the vertigo made it feel very strange to look at a picture and then look down at anything I was drawing on, no matter what I tried. So I gave up on that, and then, gave it a few days. So I switched over to this. These first few drawings are weird. Some of them are a bit out of proportion, and I definitely struggled with them. Yeah, I mean, is what it is. I wasn't too upset about it just because I haven't really been able to draw, and the fact that I could even sit down and do any sort of drawing felt really nice. Especially when I wasn't getting super motion sick, so I was living for it in the moment. So, yeah, they're not the greatest. I actually almost cut a bunch of this, like more than half of this video out. And then I was like, no, leave it in. There is nothing wrong with people seeing your mistakes. Mediocrity is my middle name, and I will stand by it. So, yep, I left these guys in. This is one of my characters. His name is Dalton. So, yeah, I didn't, draw him in all of his detail, but I was trying to just warm up a little, see how I was feeling, if I was going to be able to continue drawing for this video. And luckily I could. I did end up taking a little break, went and did lunch, and, yeah, when I came back, the break had kind of helped. I felt a bit better. It was not the kind of horrible, sickening struggle that the last video was, so that was good. Probably because I had less to set up, because I decided that I wasn't going to get my camera out and everything, because last time getting it put away was a little rough, so that's okay. Yeah, it went pretty simple. I was just scribbling, trying to see if my pen going, every which way would become something that I needed it to be. So this is actually, he's supposed to be sitting on the porch of a cabin that he rents, and he was holding a pack of smokes in his hand. Even though it just looks like his fingers are short, they're supposed to be bent around the smokes, so yeah. And then I just started thinking of someone leaning up against a wall. So that was this one. Whenever I'm drawing like this, or I kind of consider it doodling a little bit because I go into it without anything really in my mind, just want to scribble. So sometimes I have a pose in mind, sometimes I have a body part, like for instance, if I'm thinking about someone leaning backwards and one shoulder blade's going forward, the other one's going back, and the way that makes the back look, that would be a beginner idea for me, and the picture just kind of ends up being whatever it is. And I don't really mind. I like drawing that way, and just seeing what I can draw around it to make it all fit together. This was an exercise that I used to give myself so that I could draw the body starting from any part of it, whether that be the knee, the foot, the shoulder, whatever, just to see if I could keep it in proportion while doing that. There was a couple I did cut out of here because I just didn't think they were all that entertaining. So, yeah, but you'll see them at the end because I just roll through the page and let you take a little gander. For this one, I was just thinking about something that reminded me a little bit of the dude's inner turmoil. If you know anything about my characters, they are pretty much just all created, made with inner turmoil, as all human beings are. So, sometimes I kind of show that by floating eyes or lots of hands, someone being pierced by something like a stick, horns, whatever. So for him, I decided on this feeling of being rooted down. It's stuck. You're empty. You're nothing but that. And without going too far into it, yeah, he is very stuck. He's been stuck for a long time in his life. So that's what I went with. I think this was the one that I did before I went off and had lunch and took a little break. I was just starting to get a little bit more warmed up, not perfectly, but I think that was about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. I wanted to incorporate some heavier blacks. There's a picture above there that I just really didn't like, and whenever I added some blacks to it, it made me want to add some, like, deeper shadows, so. Didn't really get his face right. I was just falling into some defaults that I have and not letting myself worry about it. Sometimes I don't really mind that. Kind of knocks the frustration out of it a little bit. And then of course had to draw some very spiky fingers, as you do. And he's supposed to be in some water, but I didn't draw the water because I didn't want to. And I was kind of running out of time. And I had told my youngest brother that because we had eaten lunch so late that day that, or not lunch, breakfast so late that day that I would make us lunch around 1 o'clock, so that was my time limit. So this is me coming back after having lunch and doing some cleaning up and sitting for a second so that I could not be so dizzy. Though I will say I was much better this day, and yeah, it was nice to be nearly normal with still, like, just a little bit of disorientation, so. This pose was just me thinking about someone leaning forward into their arm and hiding part of their face, and then whenever I put that other shoulder in, that's whenever I decided which way the body was going to be twisted. Generally, if I went back over the top of these drawings, I would do one quick anatomy pass to just fix it, and then I would usually go over the top and make sure they had, clothes. But generally just putting the shapes in is enough for most under sketches. And for doodles, I don't really care. I don't care too much. They're usually just for warming up or calming down. I don't know if anyone else uses them all the time for that, but it's been huge for me for a long, long time. I almost cut this one out, but it does kind of show what I was talking about with pulling one shoulder blade forward and the other one back, and yeah, so I just left it in there. Sometimes I actually draw out the fingers, and sometimes they just end up being a gesture or like sprigs of grass or something. I don't really need it. As long as it's showing me what the hand is doing, most of the time I can live with what they look like. Although this day I was kind of struggling with getting my feet shapes right away. I had to redraw them a few times to get them to look the way that I needed them to, so I'd know which direction they were going. So this right here was actually where I was going to cut it to begin from, because I was actually being able to picture what I wanted to draw before I drew it, which is a good sign that I'm on my way to being a lot more warmed up and a little more confident and chilling out a little bit. So that was really nice. I was thinking about someone holding on to like some railing. So that's what this is. I left a couple of them in here without any cuts, so hopefully that gives you an idea for how long some of these tend to take me when I'm feeling more comfortable. I do fuss around a little bit. I don't mean to. I don't know why I put his belly button all the way up there. Where it was fine. I was still having just some trouble seeing the proportions. I don't know if anyone else has ever had like vertigo, but when you're coming back off of it, getting your brain to feel normal and look at things without them, I don't know, being distorted is super weird. So I was struggling with that a little bit, but I was slowly getting used to how I was seeing it and just working from there. So this one is actually in real time. No cuts. I mean, all of them are technically real time, just with, heavy cuts, but I thought I would put a couple in, so hopefully that helps anyone who's curious about the time it takes. But these smaller ones, when I'm more comfortable, usually aim for anywhere between, 30 seconds to 5 minutes. And I don't generally time myself, but after doing a lot of timed drawings, I can usually guess how long that's going to be. Not lately, because my time has been weird, but that's fine. But I just let go. I was just drawing what I wanted to draw. Just wanted someone leaning forward, leaning their head on their knees. Took a little bit of piecing together, and that happens. Realized I made that arm really thin. I was just like, don't forget to go back and fix that. Mental note. I decided to turn his head so he's looking off away from us. Then I remembered to fix his arm a bit because it was just really, really thin. I like that muscle. It overlaps right there. I've mentioned it so many times, but yeah, pretty much always draw it because it's fun. This is someone leaning forward with their head down. This is a pose that I like drawing a lot from imagination. I think I saw it once years ago, and after I drew it, it was like, I don't know, it gave me a really good feeling, so I remember it pretty well. And I never draw it exactly like that one, so far as I can remember anyway. I think it's always a little different. I think the one that I drew was facing forward with a lot of foreshortening, and so I just try to change it up occasionally to make it different. And I like hair to kind of like interact with the ground. I don't know what that's about, but I've always really liked that. Or overlap things. I think that's why I end up drawing a lot of thread in pictures. Or branches. Really dig branches. And I was almost going to leave it, and then I drew the arm pretty long, and I figured, I'll draw like an indication of the hand. And then this one was just weird to me, and I was like, this doesn't even look like it's holding up the body at all. So, and I changed that too. And then this guy was just kind of off the wall. I constantly like to draw people or creatures wearing hoods or something that obscures their face with shadow. Almost got full hick on you there. And yeah, so I just wanted a big creature with just a regular dude body, and I wanted them to have like a huge mouth. And then I ended up giving him a tail too, because why not? You know what? It's kind of funny. I really like animal documentaries, like a lot. So I think part of the tail thing is that tons of the animal documentaries that I've watched pretty much always have crocodiles. So yeah, and some form of like iguana. So every single time I draw a creature, I'm like, hey, reptiles. So yeah, I think that's where that comes from. Then while I was focusing on drawing his super long mouth, I was like just completely forgetting to draw his hands. I don't know why it didn't occur to me that he just had little spike nubbins and I hadn't actually given him any hands, but yeah, we get there in the end. For some reason, drawing all these little teeth took a while. I probably could have given them a little more clarity, but nah. And then whenever I was drawing his pants, I just thought, man, this dude needs some super baggy jeans or whatever, and they ended up being these weird shorts that everyone wore in like the 90s and early to mid 2000s. This was just a base pose. Just something standing. I would have liked to have gotten more dynamic and kind of pushed the view, the angle a little bit, but I didn't really get there in the whole comfort area enough to do that while filming. And then I was wearing headphones. I was just listening to music because I can't stand the sound of the stylus on the screen. The one for my laptop is not that bad because the screen protector is like pretty good, but drawing on my Cintiq 16 is like really it just feels squeaky. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, you'll probably be able to hear it now and then, but I can't stand hearing it, so I usually have to wear headphones or put something on that I can focus on so I don't have to hear it. I think that's why I end up drawing shorter lines a lot more whenever I'm drawing on it, as opposed to when I'm drawing on paper or drawing on my laptop, because it's such a horrible sound and a horrible feeling. I've tried the felt nibs and things like that as well, just to see if I could fix it, but maybe one day I'll just try a screen protector. See if it gives it, I don't know, enough of that. And then for this one, I wanted somebody really leaning back. I like the way that the rib cage sticks out and the belly looks whenever people are stretching up like that and back. It's just really, really cool, really interesting, and it really shows a break in shapes, especially between the hips and the rib cage. So I've always found it really interesting to see those at extreme angles. So then I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that and make it look kind of normal. I didn't totally nail that with the face, but it's alright. Then on to the next one. This one was another one where I was thinking about a part of the body and the way that I wanted the head to be tilted, and the rest of the pose followed. So yeah, one of those. But I wanted to adjust that shoulder. It ended up really straight, and I wanted it closer to the face. Again, not aiming for anything perfect here. Not at all, just drawing. Just making shapes and seeing if I can kind of like match a thought, even if it isn't great. Because, you know, when you're younger, there's so many things you want to draw. Like, you're not low on ideas. You've got tons of ideas. But every single time you sit down to try to draw them, they just don't come out right. Well, yeah, this was something that I practiced a lot, and I can't get full pictures out this way where they match, you know, that feeling. Which I think is the problem, is I try to capture a feeling more often than an exact image. So then whenever I do these, I just try to kind of match it and see what I can do. Just flying by the seat of my pants, like, is this going to work out? Can I get the same feeling even though I'm not thinking of the whole pose? Can I make it fit? Can I make it work? Just so I never lose the ability to wing it and, you know, have a base idea and just fix it. So that's why I try to do that. I don't know if I made that super clear, but maybe some people understand what I mean. So this is the beginning of the last drawing. I started thinking more and more and more about scenes, so I just drew a really small one. It's not great either. It's like when you don't thumbnail, and so it just ends up being the most basic camera angle you can think of, and obviously no one has any faces this day. I wasn't really drawing a lot of exact faces, which is fine. It was not what I wanted. So, yeah, it's just a little scene. It didn't really matter all that much. This is another pose that I really like, and I do default to pretty often. Because I used to not be able to draw it. I used to struggle really hard with this pose. Just leaning on a couch, and I still think in this one it was not great, but I think the lower body wasn't horrible, like when it comes to the trunk down into the legs, so that was okay. Then I decided to have some like smoke and stuff coming off him, like some darkness. And then I wanted to draw out the couch he was sitting on so I could connect the other character that I was thinking about. I'm not great with backgrounds, but I do try to practice them occasionally. I was actually drawing one on my iPad the other day when I was trying to make a video for you, when I was struggling, and I was drawing Dalton sitting on the porch. Trying to. So this is this kid. I was trying to nail this like closed off body posture. He's really nervous. That's what I wanted to kind of show. So I wanted him sitting away from him, not looking at him. And I want his arms in, his legs in. No part of him is relaxed. Like, even his body's kind of curled into itself a little bit. And I probably could have pushed it slightly, but I think I captured a little bit of that, like, rigidity when someone makes you uncomfortable. And he's not just uncomfortable with the dude, he's kind of uncomfortable with why he's there himself. So he's asking him to help him get revenge, which, yeah, if you're asking a demon, that's not gonna look good on your soul, buddy. So that's why he's uncomfortable. I didn't really fix his feet much, honestly. I probably should have. I was gonna put one foot over the other, like he was kind of scrubbing them together, and I want his thumbs, they're actually over the top of each other. Like, you know, when you rub them together, or you're like picking around your nail. I'm not as bad about that, but I do know people who do it. I'm like a horrible, like, lip chewer or like picker, so that's mine, but it's kind of harder to show when someone's trying to speak. Nothing wrong with a little revenge. And when they say things like that, you know you should just leave. But there wouldn't be a story if you did, would there? Just putting little sweat drops on him. That looks like freckles from the screen I'm looking at, but yeah, it's little sweat drops. So yeah, these are the finished sketches. There was a lot of doodling. Some were better than others. Some were barely passable. Some were a little weird. But that's okay. So yeah, all of these are drawn from imagination. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm Cleaver. Have a good day or night, and bye.